are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogreboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2008 movie, Bolt. So in this movie, Bolt is the star of the biggest show in Hollywood. The only problem is he thinks he's a real super dog, and after he accidentally is shipped to New York and separated from Penny, his beloved co-star and owner, Bolt must harness all his superpowers to find a way home. So this is a pretty fun movie. I think it's a pretty fun road trip movie and everything, and I love the characters in here, and I love like how Bolt thinks that he's this super dog and everything because he's spent his life on the set of a TV show and thinks he has all these powers and stuff. It adds a lot of humor to the story and everything. Although I will say that a lot of the best jokes and stuff were shown in the trailers and everything. And this movie, when it first came out, I felt really disappointed and underwhelmed with it because it was one of those times where they just showed way too much in the marketing and stuff for this movie. But I felt like I had seen everything that had happened in it by the time I had already seen it. And I also feel like this movie is a little bit predictable. It's not like one of the most original Disney Animation Studios movies, but it's still really entertaining. And I think the main characters are great. I love Bolt. He's a really lovable main character. And I think Mittens and Rhino are really good sidekick characters for him and everything. And Penny's a lovable character and everything. So I think all of them have good characters. I will say that I wish that this movie had a villain. I know they have the Green-Eyed Man, but he's not really a villain. And I guess you could consider Penny's agent as kind of the villain of the movie, but he's not really either. I guess if you had to choose anybody, it'd just be like, I guess the studio is the villain, because they don't want Bolt and everything having a normal life. They want him to think that everything on the show is real and everything, and it's why he runs away and stuff, because he thinks that Penny's actually in danger. But I wouldn't even say that they're really villains. They don't really do anything with that or anything and everything. But I think that it's a fun movie. It is really predictable, though. You know that by the end of the movie, you know that Bolt's gonna have figured out that he's not a super dog, and that him and Penny are gonna end up leaving the show and stuff and settling down for the quiet life that they feel like Bolt needed from the beginning and stuff. It's a really predictable movie, but it's still really entertaining. I think the animation is great in here. I think it's definitely the first Peter animated movie that Disney did where the animation actually holds up and everything, because like Dinosaur and Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons, they all are still pretty decent movies, but their animation doesn't hold up compared to most of the other animated Disney movies. But I think that it holds up pretty well in this one. And I think the music is pretty good too. I'm not sure who does the score for this movie. I can't remember. But I think that they did a good job with the music and everything. And there's some songs in here too that I like. The Coming Home to You song, or whatever it's called. That song is really catchy, and the I Thought I Lost You song, which is sung by Miley Cyrus and John Travolta, is pretty good too. And I think that John Travolta does a really great job voicing Bolt, and I think the rest of the voice cast is great too. Miley does the voice of Penny and everything. I never really fully understood why like Miley took over as Penny when Chloe Grace Moretz did her voice at the beginning of the movie, and she would have been perfectly fine to do her voice throughout the whole movie. I never really fully understood that. I think that Chloe Moretz was supposed to, but they wanted to get Miley in there to get more name recognition and stuff. But I also felt like, even though I love John Travolta and he's one of my favorite actors and he's great as Bolt, I think that had they had like someone like Adam West or something do the voice of Bolt, it would have been even better. But all I think this is a pretty fun movie. It's harmless and everything. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's not a terrible movie or anything. There's just been way better Disney movies, and movies with similar premises where we've seen this type of character arc story where someone thinks they're something they're not. Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story is a perfect example of him thinking he's a space ranger, and he has to come to terms with it. I think that type of character arc and stuff was handled much better in Toy Story. And we've seen it done in other movies too, but I felt like this one did it pretty well, though. It just was kind of formulaic, and it could have been better, could have been worse and everything, but as far as Disney Animation Studios movies go from the early 2000s, it's definitely one of the better ones, because the experimental era, like I said, isn't one of my favorite eras from Disney. I was not big into the Disney animated movies at the time when I was growing up watching these movies in the early 2000s, and this one was one that I just felt was pretty mediocre and disappointing and stuff, but I like it a lot more now. I like it more every time I rewatch it, and I've kind of grown quite fond of it, kind of like the first Cars movie. I wasn't a big fan when it first came out, but as time has gone on, I've found a whole new love and appreciation for it. And part of it too is also, even though this isn't one of the most original Disney movies, you could tell that there was still a lot of heart and stuff put into this movie, which just feels like it's been lacking in Disney stuff lately. But all in all, I think it's an entertaining movie, and it could have been better, could have been worse and everything, but it holds up pretty well, and it's an entertaining enough time. So I'd say I'd give Bolt a 7 out of 10. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Bolt, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.